everyone. We have just arrived to our next chamber chat. Little sneak peek, Sherburne State Bank. Should we go in and meet with Jared?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Here we go. Welcome everyone. You are here with Christina and Deb for the Monticello Chamber. And we're at Sherburne State Bank visiting Jared. And we want to learn all about what Sherburne State Bank has to offer the Monticello community. So we'll start off with Deb.
Hi. Can you tell us a little bit about your bank's story and what sets you apart from the others?
Absolutely. So Sherburne State Bank was founded in 1920. We currently have 3 locations. Our home location's in Becker, Minnesota, right across the river. We have a location in Princeton, Minnesota, and then Monticello was the most recent location, built in 2017. We have been a part of the community, Monticello especially, since, like I said, 2017. And what kind of sets us apart is we're a small community bank, but also we have the communities that we serve, we have their best interests in mind. We want to help businesses grow, people get into homes, have deposit accounts, checking accounts. Basically, we want to serve the local community, and just whatever banking needs someone has, we want to be able to help. So really something important we tried to push this more recently is making people aware of, banking local, keeping your money local is super important because your dollars stay within the community and gets reinvested in the next home that goes up, the new business renovation, the new bar or restaurant. Those are your dollars at work, and it's super important for everyone to keep their funds local. So that's what I'd say what kind of sets us apart.
Sets you apart, focusing on those
local investments and really just focusing on the community and what we can do to help. Another thing that's different is we don't have a phone tree. We have people that pick up the phone, answer the phone. We're always available for appointments. It's super convenient, where some institutions or businesses, larger companies have these phone trees, and it might take you, a week or 2 to get an appointment or something like that.
Okay.
We like to say we have the personal touch and, try and think outside the box to, find a solution to any situation someone might have.
Well, you definitely feel the personal touch walking in, because 2 friendly faces kind of walked right toward us as we came through the door.
Absolutely.
With a big smile on their face. So I definitely feel that. Well, you alluded to a little bit about the services that you offer. Do you want to maybe dive into those a little bit more with
Sure.
What types of accounts or services do you offer that individuals or small businesses might need to know about?
Sure. I mean, on the personal side, we have your typical personal checkings, CDs, money market accounts. We have a really strong residential mortgage team, so people looking at purchasing a new home, renovating their home, HELOCs, home equity lines of credit. Basically anything you can think of on the personal side we can help with. We don't have investments or insurance. That's just not something that we are kind of focused on. We'd rather focus on the banking side and leave the investments to insurance to those actual companies. On the business side, we offer everything from commercial lines of credit, commercial real estate loans, construction loans, SBA, small business loans, basically anything you can think of that you'd want to finance on the business side or might need help growing your business, we can take a look at and try and find a solution for the business.
Lots of options.
Yeah. The business side too, we have, your typical savings, checkings, sweep accounts, some higher interest accounts on the business side too, based on balances. So there's a wide range of products, and it's kind of hard to find something we can't offer or compete with other banks. So that's what I'd say about that.
Yeah, very good.
So you individually are on the board of directors with the Monticello Chamber. The bank though, how does the bank stay involved in the local community?
Yeah, so local community, that's something that the bank takes a lot of pride in. So in those communities I talked about, Princeton, Becker, and Monticello, we're active in each of those Chamber of Commerces. We donate a lot of dollars out to local nonprofits or schools, sports teams, whatever that is. We send out a lot of funds each year to donate and try and help those programs. We recently are taking advantage of a grant through the state that they match our donation funds to a couple different nonprofits for each of our communities. So we took advantage of that and found some good nonprofits focused on community development that got awarded these grants. So just items like that. Also, our employees are very active in the community. They serve on, chambers of commerce. They volunteer at, several events within the community. I mean, we have employees that work the pork chop stand at the Becker footy. So the community is a very important part to the bank, and we want to see the communities our bank's in keep growing.
Yeah.
Well, they live, work, and play in the area. And
Exactly.
that's important. Very good.
What's one misconception people often have about banks or banking that you'd like to clear up? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Nobody likes to frequent the bank.
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest misconception is, small banks can't offer or have, less products, or they're not as sophisticated as my larger, the larger banks that are out there.
Sure.
That's probably one of the most, probably the most used misconception. Like I said, we have the mobile app, we have, online banking, we have a lot of the technology that the larger banks do. That's just one of the main misconceptions. And then the other one I kind of already talked about was, I think in the past people haven't really realized, if they bank at a larger institution that has it's national, and their funds can be used wherever, those institutions are, whether it's, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, whatever it is, where versus a community bank, those dollars stay local. So that's one thing I really think people, don't realize or haven't thought about before that I like to bring to light. But yeah, I'd say the main one is, the common one we see a lot is, well, I have this at my current bank. Can you guys even do this? Or like, do you guys even have an app? And it's like, yes, we do have an app. We have to adapt and move along with the technology as well.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
if you don't keep adapting to the technology, you're going to always be behind the 8 ball.
So you still have electricity and plumbing.
Yeah, we're, it's Sherburne State Bank. It's, just the name itself, people think it's just, maybe a sleepy small town bank, but I mean, we're full of movers and shakers and want to, see the community grow and, have the technology, have the talent, employees, and great customers that, allow us to keep moving forward. So
And you still have the personal touch. I was telling Christina when we were on our way over, I said, but they still treat the pets with a treat. When you come
Yeah.
through the drive-through, I said, I came in one day and there was a big yellow lab in here. I said, just made me feel like I was at home. So.
Yep, we got dog treats, stickers, toys for the kids, all that. So
Yeah. What's the next for the bank here? Any exciting new services or goals for the year ahead?
yeah, so what's next for the bank is kind of a lot of the same. We're still focusing on growth and in the communities, and obtaining new customers, helping customers take their business or their their personal lives to the next level. So I would say there's banking in that aspect is kind of boring. There's not a lot of just new products coming out all the time like you might see in retail stuff, but it's a lot of the same products, but maybe enhancing them a little bit. But also the bank itself, like I said, our main focus is, continue to grow with our communities. Monticello, for example, is growing all the time. It's been impressive the last, several years, and we want to be a part of that growth in the future. So it's really, focusing on what strategies can we implement, what the next steps for us are to be able to serve and help the community and, continue growing. So that's what I'd say, the path forward to the bank. Nothing shiny and, maybe too exciting, but also just making people aware that we are here to help them grow and, continue to grow with the community like Monticello.
What's the best way for someone to come in and kind of explore options? Come through the front door? Is there an online interest form? How do people connect?
Yeah, so I mean, we have the online interest form. A lot of people, they want to do everything off their phone. So we do have a form, or a little box online where, you can type a message and say I'm interested, and someone will, be in touch with you. I'd say the best way though is just give a call. They said there's no phone tree, it's a real person you'll talk to, and you say, hey, I'm interested in, I'm looking at a new house maybe, or I want to move. They'll get you connected with the right people, and then from there we can set up that personal meeting, your personal meeting or a phone call within, hours potentially, and get that process rolling. So
Well, it felt very immediate coming here, like I mentioned earlier, as people are very welcoming and ready to serve and excited to kind of welcome them in. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, just a couple other, we've been ranked nationally for our bank size. We've been ranked nationally for our commercial lending with businesses, our fix up loans through the residential program. I mean, so this isn't like I said, a sleepy institution. We're full of movers and shakers, and if people out there have goals or want something done, we try and facilitate that, and we think we are a good connection to talk to, and if you have something you want to do, come talk to us. So yeah, it's been really fun to be a part of this bank and grow with it. So
Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
I
The
don't
bank?
think so. It's been a good discussion.
Yeah.
Thanks for the questions, and
Absolutely.
thanks everyone for listening.
It's been fun to have you on Chamber Chat.
Absolutely.
And if anyone else is interested in joining Deb and I on Chamber Chat, let us know. But we were so grateful to have you on
For sure.
today, and thanks to everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah.